Modern controls aren't broken. You just suck. I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's something that needed to be said. I wasn't planning to do another modern control video, but I got so many nasty comments from players that not only hate the control scheme, but were also trying to attack people in my comments for using it. Now, I would kinda understand being upset about modern controls if it was just the only layout for Street Fighter 6, but it's literally an optional control scheme that you don't have to use. So with that in mind, I really had to sit here and think, why do you guys hate it so much? And I found out why. Most of the people that commented only hate modern controls because they're losing against it. I got a bunch of comments like,
"They babied my Street Fighter.
Why did they let these cheating control schemes work online?
They need to not let me queue with the modern control players. Modern controls are broken and need to be removed."
Yada yada yada. I got a bunch of comments, attacks, and think pieces like this under my video, and honestly, all I could do was laugh. Seeing these comments, knowing how I feel about modern controls personally, and hearing other people's rank experience with it, it told me everything that I needed to know. See, I'm a platinum player currently, and this isn't to hype myself up or to say that I'm good at the game, but I'm saying this because once you hit platinum and onward, modern controls barely exist. I can count on my hands how many times I've ran into modern control players because 95% of the player base in the higher ranks use classic controls. This doesn't mean that modern controls aren't good and can't be used at a higher level, because they definitely can, but what this is currently saying is that most players that have a fundamental understanding of fighting games value classic control scheme a lot more than the modern. That right there already invalidates the statement about modern controls being broken, because if they were really broken, if they were really that good, majority of the best players in the game would be using it. Now, we do have a few high level players that are using it, like one of the best Maristas in the game, Taito, and Evo champion Taito. They're currently trying it out and seeing if it's really worth the investment in the long run, but majority of the time they still are using classic controls. You're not about to go in the comments and say something like,
"See, if less than the 1% of the best players are using it, then it has to be broken."
That doesn't prove anything like that. And honestly, them using modern controls doesn't even matter, because majority of you that are complaining about it are players that are stuck in bronze and gold rank. You aren't playing any players anywhere near the skill levels of Shuto or Taito, which means your underlying issue with Street Fighter 6 isn't modern controls, but your overall fundamentals of the game, which is okay. We all start somewhere, but the road to improvement requires us to acknowledge where we suck at. To help, here are some common things that I see that a lot of players at lower ranks struggle with, especially when they play against modern control players. Hold up! You didn't like the video yet. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you are a modern control player, let me know how you guys have been enjoying modern controls in the comment section below. And if you aren't a modern control player, please be nice to everybody down there, because everybody's just trying to enjoy Street Fighter 6. I appreciate you guys. I don't want to hold you up any longer, so let's get back to the video. For starters, most of you guys' neutral control is pretty rough. A lot of times, a lot of you guys are turtling a lot, constantly walking back, and you're constantly just throwing out random big buttons that's getting you killed, or doing something crazy in neutral that you shouldn't be doing. And a lot of times when it comes to playing other players like you just randomly get hit by random things, and that ends up killing you a lot. You're also just jumping around and not worrying about where you're doing or where you're going. You're really just all brain in and just constantly running up and trying to do something. That's not how you're supposed to play neutral. In neutral, you want to go for a lot less committal options in the space, so checking with light buttons if players are approaching, even if it means like you approaching as well. You can go for bigger buttons, but make sure you're at safer distance. Like Ken, you can go for a stand-up medium kick if you want to, just at his proper ranges. Make sure that when you go for it, you don't cancel into it if your opponent is blocking, because guess what? That's a negative on block on the second hit. You can go for big buttons as well, but again, make sure spacing wise that if you do, that it doesn't bite you in the butt or hurt you too hard. Honestly, if you're playing a character like Ken or other Shotos or just fireball characters in general, you don't really have to commit too much with buttons. Just use fireballs. Fireballs help you out a lot in a neutral space, because especially with players that are early on within early ranks, they don't really know how to deal with fireball nonsense, because it becomes very tedious for them to understand, especially if they're using characters that don't have fireballs. What that normally results into is that these players are going to be jumping, and I mean jumping a lot. You guys know it, you're in the ranks. But the big thing is that what that normally results into is that not only are they jumping, you're jumping to either stop them from jumping, or you're trying to get the heads up like, hey, if I jump before they jump, I can stop them from jumping. And that's not how that works. what you want to do is that if a player is jumping, which you can easily do this in training mode, is come to the anti-air practice and learn how to anti-air players out of the air, because this is something that's very simple, but it's going to stack up in the long run. A lot of players, that they're going to be stubborn. They're not going to stop jumping, and you want to want to shut that down every time. Whether that means just using something like a crouch heavy punch, or if that means using something like your DP. Overall, this damage is going to stack up, and either they're going to stop jumping and then you can go back to your fireball game, or they're just going to say whatever and just keep running face forward. And that's something that you can completely take advantage of. Also, a lot of you guys, you burn too much meter. A lot of you, y'all love seeing the Twitter highlights and seeing people just do drive rush and neutral, but you don't understand why they're doing it, and now you're wasting meter. You're also constantly spending meter to do combos that probably don't add up to the damage that's worth spending. And a big thing, and I mean a big thing, is drive impact. I've seen so many players just throw drive impact out, and it's like, why did you do that? You really literally just killed yourself because you're spamming it. And this is no different from mono control players as well. A lot of you guys play very similar when you're at that lower rank. It's just when it comes to a mono control player, he has a lot more ease of access to do a lot of mashing, but he isn't winning because he's using mono controls. They're winning because they're doing the same abusive thing that you're trying to do to them. It's just that they're able to do it a lot faster because you're currently struggling or lacking the fundamentals in order to stop it, which is something that a lot of players struggle with when first getting into fighting games, but you can definitely overcome it. But you know what? Let's do a little less of me talking and me actually showing you live. So I couldn't find a mono control player for the life of me, so I remember I did have some modern gameplay against some players when I was recording a little while ago, and I'll show you guys this match with Ken. So as you can see, he's playing traditional fireball game. He's actually taking his time in comparison to some other modern players, but there are some exploits and some things that you can take advantage of even though he's using modern controls. Again, the main reason within these matches they do good, or like they're winning or beating you, isn't because of the modern control scheme themselves, and more so often that the play or something that you're doing wrong as well is the reason why. Like there in this round, I did not want to block at all. Honestly, as soon as I saw he was silver, I thought I could kind of just do what I want to do, but I got blown up and he completely took advantage of that. And so the next round, I decided we're going to adjust. We're just going to take our time here. I saw that he likes to go for bigger buttons, or like automatically go into Ken's specials whenever he can. So I was like, okay, we're going to look at that and we're going to see what we can do and prevent him from doing that. Now, of course, we're still slightly getting beat up and we're going to take some hit, which is fine. This is just fighting games. But as long as you adjust mid-match at some point, it's going to help out. And this is what we started to do. We started to see that he goes for drive impact a lot. And I definitely wanted to take advantage of that, because going for drive impact a lot against me personally, somebody that has been practicing and training themselves to improve at their reactions against it, I love when people do that. Again, we're going to do some of my DJ shenanigans. He's playing the fireball game as he should, which is smart of him. But I definitely know that he is a rare consideration in comparison to players that have run around this area of skill level. They don't like playing the fireball game too much, and they like jumping a lot, which, as you can see, he's getting punished for jumping, throwing out DPs. It's like he's getting himself killed. Now, of course, I'm making some mistakes too. I'm dropping my combos, but you know, it was a rough day for me that day. I was a little early, and I think these were my first few matches of the day when I was playing them. Again, he's super aggressive here, and I remember this whole time I was saying jump, and look what he does. He jumps. I knew he was going to go for a jump opportunity. It's something that a lot of players, one big habit that a lot of players have early on, so they don't like to stay grounded. This is something even that I have, being better at the game. So that's something that you definitely have to tame. You have to do better without jumping so much and stay grounded, because Street Fighter is a grounded game. Now here again, I know this is very aggressive, even on like my knockdowns. So a lot of times I go for my DPs because I know he's going to hit a button. And as you can see here, like right now, he's having issues with the fireball game. Ken's fireball is pretty good, but he's not maximizing, or he wasn't maximizing the strength of Ken's fireballs within the match. He would just throw them out and he wouldn't advance. And that's the big thing you want to do with Ken. You want to advance, especially against DJ when DJ fireballs are better. Again, I know he's over aggressive. He's always going to hit something. So I'm like, okay, I'm DPing. I'm going to do my fireball game, keep him out. And he's going to get overzealous. See, look, he went for drive impact and he's going to test my reactions. That's one thing that you should do at certain levels, is that you should test people's reactions and see if they're ready for drive impact and neutral. But stats for him, I am somebody that's very much ready for driving back in neutral a lot of times. And he's getting his mana combo stuff off, and that's cool, that's fine. But overall, if you're like the better player, if you have the better neutral game, if you have just as good of combos execution, you'll do fine. I didn't get a drive impact there because I was in burnout, and I didn't. I'm not good at canceling into CA into burnout when fighting as drive impact just yet, so that's something that I still struggle at. But even so, I'm still comfortable. I'm still fine. I'm still pretty much prepared and ready regardless. He definitely chipped me out with that super, so that's all good. But we still got another round. I'm not really too worried about losing this. Remember, a strong thing with Street Fighter is being patient, controlling neutral, and what that comes with depending on your character, whether that be slowly walking yourself in, not having to always jump. Make sure you punish on opportunities. I definitely could have got a bigger combo there when he did the DP, but regardless, I got to punish. I was able to walk in, and that's something that you got to train yourself. You got to be able to take your time. Get slow W's, prevent certain things from happening. So jumping in, shut that down. Do your fireball game, keep the pressure up, make them burn resources. That was one thing that I was going into with this, was making him burn resources, and it worked out perfectly. We did really good, and we got the dub. All in all, the point of this video is to stop pointing your blame at motor controls for your inability to improve. There's a lot of other ways that you could be improving within the game that motor controls has nothing to do with and is preventing you from improving. I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering, how do I even know your low rank? And mostly that's because within the areas of Twitter, social media, within the game as well, a lot of people that are platinum and higher, I don't really see anybody complain about motor controls too much. The only times that I see a lot of complaints about it coming from is from the people who are still learning the game, which is understandable and fine. But the thing with fighting games is that a lot of people like to point blame, because with fighting games the only thing you really can do is blame yourself, because a lot of the times how you lost or how you're struggling is a result of how you're playing, and pointing off blame and putting it towards somewhere else doesn't help you at all. It eventually just gets you to quit a fighting game because you can't accept that you have to improve. And that's the big thing that you learn when learning fighting games. And I hope that you guys actually go the extra step to actually learn and improve at the game, instead of putting all this front onto modern control players and making it seem like that they're an issue with the game and that Capcom needs to separate the player base, because they don't. Separating the player base won't solve anything. People will start complaining that they can't find matches and stuff. And overall, modern controls are just a welcoming feature within the game that we just all have to accept. It's here, it's now. It's either you improve and get used to it and just learn how to deal with it, or be stuck with it and complain in every single video that brings it up. But yeah, that's how I feel about motor controls. You guys mostly already know from my last video, and I hope that everybody that's using motor controls, that you continue to enjoy the game and not worry about the people that's hating on you for using it. Everybody's welcome to use whatever they want to use when it comes to playing Street Fighter 6, especially if it's within the game for players to use. And I welcome anybody with any control type with open arms to come enjoy me play some games, as well as just enjoy Street Fighter 6 as a whole. But I appreciate you guys for all your support and love, man. It's all these videos have been doing good, and I can't say thank you enough. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.